My talk today is embracing change. I'd like to start with a quote by Ernest Holmes from the book A New Design for Living. He said, "We are living in a world. We are living in a world of continual change, a world in which thought, thing, and experience are all in a constant state of flux. It is the very nature of the universe that there should be continual change and variation. It is a living world, the creation of a living creative intelligence, not a static world created by a God now dead or departed, who has left it to decay. No, it is a world, it is vital, it's alive. The mind that created it is not apart from it, but is always active in and through it. But behind that which changes, behind that which causes the change, we have found that there is something stable and changeless, something eternal upon which all external events depend for their very existence. Behind the endless process of change and the infinite variety of experience and expression, there is that which does not change." End of quote. Change, it happens every day, every moment, everywhere. To live fully, we must learn to embrace change and to honor it, even when change arises with companions like fear and uncertainty. Life is about evolving and actively creating change, as well as learning how to go with the flow when inevitable change comes our way. The Greek philosopher Heraclitus, who lived about 2,500 years ago, made already the statement, "The only thing constant is change." The only thing constant is change. And Jack Canfield, one of our contemporaries, says, "Change is inevitable in life. You can either resist it and potentially get run over by it, or you can choose to cooperate with it, adapt to it, and learn how to benefit from it. When you embrace change, you will begin to see it as an opportunity for growth." And Gloria Steinem said, "Clinging to the past is a problem. Embracing change is the answer." And one of my very favorite philosophers, Lao Tzu, said, "If you realize that all things change, there's nothing you will try to hold on to." I repeat that one. If you realize that all things change, there's nothing you will try to hold on to. We must leave a part of us behind. Anatole France said, "All changes, even the most longed for, have their melancholy. For what we leave behind us is a part of ourselves. We must die to one life before we can enter into another." Become a student of change. It is the only thing that will remain constant. That comes from Anthony D'Angelo. Change is natural. We must learn to view change as a natural phenomenon, to anticipate it and to plan for it. The future is ours to channel in the direction we want to go. We must continually ask ourselves, what will happen if? Or better still, how can we make it happen? New worlds emerge. When patterns are broken, new worlds emerge. A good example is South Africa, which changed from apartheid to democracy. That was a huge step, which took a lot of negotiation and a lot of sitting together and figuring out how can we create a world or a country that works for everyone, where all races are equally treated, have the same rights, the same ways of life, and the same opportunities. So that was a huge step after the long reign of apartheid. Because if we look at technology, our manual work is being replaced by mass production. And big changes, great impacts. And if you look at the world of computers, of data processing, When I started many years ago, we had a big computer at the office in a separate room with air conditioning. And yeah, it worked and it looked great. But I mean, that computer then did not do what my cell phone does now. There's this little cell phone does far more than the big computer used to do. It's much faster and has much more capacity. I think it's awesome to see the development, the changes, which might be painful at certain stages, but are also so beneficial in many other ways. Forcing change. In every crisis, there is a message. Crises are nature's way of forcing change, breaking down old structures, shaking loose negative habits so that something new and better can take their place. That comes from Susan Taylor. And Helen Keller said, when one door of happiness closes, another opens. But often we look so long at the closed door that we do not see the one which has been opened for us. And Viktor Frankl, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Ernest Holmes, I think you might remember that. Change your thinking, change your life. Go with the flow. Change has long been a fearful thing for human beings. And at the same time, it is our most divine opportunity. Clinging to the banks of the river may seem safe and more secure. But life's possibilities are truly engaged only when we trust, release, and become part of the flow of the universe. If we don't change, we don't grow. And if we don't grow, we are not really living. Change is the only constant in life. Everything we notice is in a cycle of coming and going, beginning and ending. Everything without exception. Just remind yourself continuously, this too shall pass. There are actually two types of changes. One is the unexpected changes, which are often somehow forced upon us by unforeseen events or circumstances, such as accidents or natural disasters like floods and tsunamis. And the other ones are planned changes, where one has time to think about and to prepare for it, like moving to a new home or change a job or things like that. So I would like to share some important changes which I embraced in my life. I actually grew up in a small, rather conservative environment in Germany, where most things were rather structured and regulated. It was actually quite safe and secure, but also I found rather boring. However, I discovered quite early in my youth that this world was too small for me or too boring for me, and I would want to travel to see different countries, meet different cultures, different people. And at one stage in my youth, I read something about global community, forming a global community, be a global citizen or global citizenship. And that really fascinated me and inspired me. Although I didn't follow up in those days, but it's always, I think the seed was planted. One of my very first big changes happened when I had to join the army for 2 years after my matric. That was a totally different environment. It was rather rough and also quite uncomfortable. Actually, it was quite overwhelming for me, in the beginning at least. But I learned to cope and to make the best out of it. It actually became quite interesting to me. People from very different backgrounds who I would never have met otherwise, additional qualifications. I'm grateful for that because it opened my mind and it allowed me to learn to accept others just the way they were. That was my best option and a true blessing, embracing change. The next great change was going to university in Berlin to study, in Berlin, in West Germany. A city with a very international status and students from all over the world. Again, a global aspect for me. What a joy to meet with so many interesting people from different countries and different backgrounds. Embracing change from army life to high life at Free University. The university was actually called Free University. And it was really free because it was in the free part of Berlin. Because it was West Berlin compared to East Berlin, was under communistic rule. So this time it was easy to change. It was stimulating, exciting, and very beautiful. A very, very great time of my life. The next big change, I decided to leave Germany, at least for a while. And I expected to go away maybe for a year or two. I wasn't quite sure at that stage, but I certainly did go, because I wanted to see something more of the world. And I chose to go to South Africa. And that really meant growing up for me, being on my own in a different country where I didn't know anybody. It was a complete different political setup, a different society altogether. Apartheid, racial segregation, and very strict segregation. It was very strange to me, very, very unusual, and also very difficult to cope with in the beginning. With a different language, different races, different cultures. But actually I thrived on that. I thrived on all the new stuff I had been confronted with. And I tried to meet people from all different backgrounds, which was not so easy in those days. It was really not encouraged to meet with people of different races. It was quite strict in restaurants, only white people could go, and in churches, some people allowed black people, but they had to sit in the back rows, and there was all very, but I didn't really go to church in those days anymore, so it didn't affect me as such, but I did hear about it, and I found it very hard to believe. But anyway, this was also something to confront myself with, and to live what is mine to do in this. I didn't have to follow all the apartheid rules. I could do my own thing, and I did in many ways. I wasn't very brave, but I certainly always tried to reach out to meet all people who I came across with. So I also felt I was really free then in many ways. There was no more parents who could tell me what to do and what not to do because they were 10,000 kilometers away. And we could phone, but the telephone connection wasn't so good in those days anyway. Anyway, so I felt free because I really felt totally and utterly responsible for myself. And I thought in the end it was a very good choice that I did the change, that I did leave Germany in order to build up my own life. And I'm still in South Africa. And I still feel very much at home, and I'm very grateful that I did at one stage this big change. And then another change, quite a big one. Before I turned 60, I felt that my work environment became rather toxic for me. And I decided to go on early retirement. So many people thought it was a stupid idea to go on early retirement, and because my pension would be lower later on, and not really security, etc., etc. But to me, retirement didn't really mean to retire, because I always ask myself, what do I retire from? Do I retire from life? And that is certainly a great no, no, no. And I'm still working, and so I did leave my work, and I started to study science of mind. And at the same time, I found some part-time jobs in consulting, which gave me quite a good income. So I didn't really suffer anything at all. Actually, I had a better life than living or being in a company where I felt uncomfortable and I just didn't feel fulfilled. So now I was doing what I really wanted to do, to study again, and to study something which I really found interesting. And so that big change, I embraced very, very much. And I even became a minister at age 73. So I'm very, very happy when I look back and see all things have worked out. With many ups and downs. Obviously, there were quite a few ups and downs in South Africa when I started to find my way here. Relationship problems, work problems, etc., etc. But all these things have been overcome. Because there was always something always happened which took me beyond that. So when I reflect on these changes, I find there for me basically 4 aspects about embracing change. Embracing change is about being open-minded, being willing to learn, to meet people of different backgrounds, religious, cultural, educational, lifestyle, etc. And the French author Rev Gerd said, "Man cannot discover new oceans unless he has the courage to lose sight of the shore." Embracing change is also about gratitude, being grateful for what has been, for lessons learned, for opening up new avenues and experiences of life, meeting different people from different backgrounds. Really, really grateful for all of that. Embracing change is also about deeper understanding of life, memories, reflections, accepting, loving what is. Embracing change is also about arriving at a larger picture and seeing how it all fits together. So change enables me to pause and to reflect, to consider new possibilities, to discover and pursue new passions or new interests, to redefine my purpose, and to keep on learning. Now here's a closing question. What life do you want to live? When coming to the end of this life, will you be saying, "I was always consistent"? Or will you enthusiastically say, "I did it all. I embraced change wholeheartedly"? Thank you very much.